Everybody, welcome to Sportycast YouTube channel. This is 343 and episode 146. We're gonna have to figure out who made the mishap on the audio there after a fantastic intro courtesy of AF. Jason, I'm looking at you. You look a bit guilty there.
100%. 100%.
As always, when I host, someone has to throw some gremlins in the background. But that's what makes it fun, man. So welcome to episode 146. We've got all the Premier League talking points. We're looking back at the weekend, the games that passed. Before even being able to catch our breath, we had a couple of games last night. There's a slate of games this evening. We've got games all the way through, almost every day, all the way through to the weekend. So a lot to look back at, a lot to look forward to. And with that in mind, I thought let's take a different approach today, with games happening all the time, instead of the usual looking back at the weekend review and looking forward to the upcoming games. I'm going to go club by club. Right. So I will explain that after I just go around and do some admin, check in with the boys. Firstly, I need to start with Riaz. Riaz, my man, I know things are dire at Spurs, but tell me what's up with this hairstyle.
What do you mean? What? I don't see a difference. It's all the same to me.
This guy's stuck in 2007.
That's what the Spurs fans are saying.
When he has a tad bit of venom in his body.
Yeah, that's a lovely. I'll take that. Thanks, Jason. I'll take that all the way down.
I don't know if you should actually.
He's coming to us live from Doha. Things are maybe a bit hot there for him. Moving up, Jason. Nice to have you on the show. What's happening, brother? You okay?
I'm all good, man. All good. Happy to be amongst the Parker Bros. Finally got the invite. Finally, the schedule's lined up. I'm officially inducted into the Parker Hall of Fame. So add me to the WhatsApp groups. I'm good.
Maybe not Hall of Fame just yet.
Yeah. Look, I've got many stickers to send in the family group, so just let me know in the Parker group, okay?
Look, with that chair, you definitely look like an executive member of the family. So we'll definitely leave it at that. I see you sneaking your golf clubs into the picture as well. Don't worry, I see everything. AF, how's it going? Thanks for product placement. Okay. AF, how's it going, my man? Thanks for being there and setting us up with the intro.
Yeah, man. I saw Ramiz was like heartbroken the last time, so needed to come clutch for him this time. I hope he was vibing to that intro. It's all for you, my man. All for you.
Yeah, Ramesh, welcome to the show. I agree with you. Riaz does look a bit different. We're trying to uncover that. For the fresh cut, Kudus, I think that's you. Thanks for spotting that for us. Guys are heading into December, they want to get that holiday spirit going. And Jason, I think that's maybe a bit of shade at the two of us, but with us being at the top of the table, it's a bit hard to find time to do other things, man.
Honestly, man, between the celebrations, it's just too much. And yeah, actually, I did line it up today because I looked a bit upset after the game on Sunday. But I'm sure we'll touch on that later.
Definitely a lot later, because how we're going to run, or the running order of the show, we're going to start at the bottom. So with the team a bit lower down the log, and we're going to work our way up and then end off with a Aston Villa Arsenal preview. Sadiq, thanks for coming. London will always be blue. I'm starting to think London will be red, and not because of Arsenal, because of all the red cards you guys get. So you might want to go check on that, but do stick around, Sadiq. We want you around, because since Chelsea is sitting third on the log, we will come to them a bit later. So you'd have to sit through some of the other clubs, but stay with us, man, or come back a bit later. So let's get straight in. I want to start with Tottenham Hotspur. Riaz, this is not me ganging up on you or anything of that sort. It's just the fact that they are 11th on the log currently after playing 14 matches. Last night was a bit of an interesting result. I think it ended with a bit of on a positive note, right? A bit of a screamer there from Christian Romero. a bicycle off his knee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
shin.
tell me, how you feeling after that game?
Um, at 1-1, I would say we were lucky to get a point, but when that that penalty shot, when that was given, I thought it was decent that we ended up with a 2-2 draw. Even though we're playing horrifically badly, that I think that's the biggest problem. Like we aren't playing well. We haven't had a shot on target in the first half of a game for 5 games now, I think, in a row, which is ridiculous. So overall, I think we really are playing some shocking football, and it doesn't look good for the future. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very worried.
Yeah, a lot of the talk about yesterday's game was the fact that, okay, they are playing away from home, but they were set up in a way where they were just looking to just take the point, instead of trying to play. And I think watching Spurs a bit recently, they seem to be stuck between what type of football they want to play. Do they want to be a defensively solid team? Do they want to be a team that attacks freely? And they kind of stuck in between. And I think it's the pressure of trying to get results, to be honest. If I'm going to come to you, I just want to talk a bit about Thomas Frank and his 11 or teams that he puts out week by week. Do you think he knows what his starting 11 is or should be?
I I think that he's had enough time to experiment with the different players he has at his disposal. He has been unlucky with the fact that he brought in Mohamed Kudus. He's been injured, then he's fit, then he's injured, then he's fit. You can't actually get a proper run with your preferred 11 that way. But I mean, it's no excuse. He started the season quite well. He like I mean they what on 18 points at the moment. That's about 5 points behind top four. So it's not a train smash. He started really well. It's just been the last like 3 or 4 weeks now that he's sort of hit a slump. So I don't think it's panic stations just yet. They showed some grit against Newcastle to come back and equalize. Christian Romero with a double goal, even though I don't really like him that much, but he came clutch when the team needed him. But yeah, I think there's a lot being said about Spurs, and I don't think that they should be panicking that much just yet.
But it's about how we're
Yeah,
playing,
look,
AF man. That's the problem. Like I grant you that the results we're 5 points like behind top four, whatever the case may be. But the way we've been playing is just it's really really bad.
and that is the big problem if you are a Spurs fan, because 2 points in the last 5 games, I think that compounds matters
Yeah.
a bit. And like you're saying, as a fan, you just don't like how you're playing football. And Jason, coming to you, obviously as the man who used to man the midfield and create chances for people back in the day, Spurs are struggling with creating chances, and it seems as if they just can't get that midfield combination right to be able to penetrate in the central areas, whereas they tend to find it fairly not easy, but there's less resistance to them just swinging the ball wide and asking Kudus, Odebert, and so on to just dribble, take their man on 1v1, instead of building up some sort of play and trying to get the ball through to Richarlison, whoever starting up front.
Yeah, I think like everybody's alluded to, I think it's a problem with the first 11 and kind of nailing down that spine. I think also compounded to that is the nature of their centre back pairing also seeming a bit. I think that formation, maybe Riaz might correct me. That formation has changed a few times. Some days it's a back four, some days maybe it's a back three, others a back five. There's no straight line. This is the team that we're going to go. This is the game. You look back to a game. I think it was the City game. There was so much cohesion there. There was so much of I'd say stability, and there was an identity. And I think they kind of lost their way to try and tweak it a bit. And yeah, I think there's definitely cause for concern because, like Riyad says, the way that they're playing is just it's not something that's showing any sort of improvement. And especially concerning for them is the fact that they showed a bit of improvement at the start of the season. So then it's like it's very up and down, and you are supposed to expect that. But yeah, I think it's that midfield that's really setting the tone or not actually. And yeah, it shows in all the performances where teams are running through them like it's open season.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at it, they've conceded 18 goals so far this season, and it hasn't been that bad in the overall grand scheme of things. But just the recent performances, like Riaz alluded to, looking ahead for Spurs, they've got Brentford home, and then they've got Nottingham Forest away. Both teams fairly good defensively. Obviously, Brentford, they employ a very good low block. Nottingham Forest are managed or coached by Sean Dyche. So if a team is struggling to create chances, these are not the two teams you want to be up against back to back. Riaz, any thoughts on how those two games are going to go?
Yeah, but I mean, you make a good point. But in saying that, nothing short of 6 points is acceptable. If we're going to if in these two games, like realistically, we should be getting 6 points out of these games. We should be winning both of them, no matter what they're playing, no matter what team comes out, no matter how they're going to be playing. Spurs should be getting 6 points, and anything other than that is unacceptable at the end of the day, no matter how we're playing. And hopefully, we will find a way to become more. I mean, it's like, unfortunately, we've lost Jason, but unfortunately, it looks like he has a Brentford mentality, and he's brought it to Spurs where it's not the same. So it's Thomas Frank needs to sort things out. Like, I understand what you guys are saying in terms of like the team, the spine, the midfield, and all of that, and the creating chances is an issue, but I think it stems from the coach because I mean, the team is good. The individual players, we have good individual players. Maybe up front on like in the striker role is maybe a bit difficult, but other than that, I think we have good players, and we shouldn't be playing so badly. Even if we lose games, we shouldn't be playing so badly. So I think it's on the coach.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point with regards to Frank. And I actually thought of that earlier today. I was thinking, with Brentford, what's the big difference? And I think you nailed it with regards to the Brentford mentality at Spurs. You can't bring that same mentality where you're trying to play as an underdog.
Yeah,
Welcome back,
exactly.
Jason. And you need to embrace the fact that you are at a so-called bigger club, right? So
Yeah.
with what you said now, obviously I can gather that you feel Frank's under pressure, and if he gets to Christmas without picking up a decent amount of points, I'm assuming you want him out. AF, do you agree with Riaz's takeover here? Do you also think by Christmas, if Frank hasn't improved the way they play and pick up points, that he might be out?
I think if Spurs fall further behind, probably the top seven, if there's probably about a 7 to 8 point gap between seventh and wherever Spurs are laying, then I think that the ownership at Spurs will probably be looking at, okay, is this guy to take us forward, the right one to take us forward? But I mean, with my team, like we've been there before, they've assessed the manager and they've backed him, and like getting rid is never the easy or never the best choice. I think Thomas Frank is still a good manager. I think he's probably just trying to find his way in a bigger club than what he was at before.
Yeah.
He's probably still trying to find his feet over there. He's 5 months, 6 months into the job. So I think that the Spurs would be a bit silly to get rid of him this early.
They'll give him the season. They should give him the season.
Fair
anyway.
enough.
Yeah.
Jason, I want to keep you interested, because you left the chat, you left the episode earlier, because I know, the Spurs talk just doesn't vibe with you. And it's the same for everyone else watching.
I
I
don't
hope you're
mind
all
it, bro.
staying with
I
us.
don't mind seeing ops. I don't mind seeing ops struggling. So keep it going if you
Fair
must.
enough. I hope the rest of you are staying with us as we move on to some of the other clubs. Remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, do all the things to support us and jump in the chat. As you can see obviously on our faces when some of us are laughing when someone's talking, it's mostly not that the person's take is funny. It's the fact that
Yeah.
things are going off in the comment section, some crazy comments. Rasta, my man, it's nice to have you here, but uh, we don't quite get that language there, brother. So if you can just translate it for us, so we can try to respond to you. But that's enough for Spurs. I think
Thank
moral of
goodness.
the story with Spurs is if they don't improve their results, then a lot of pressure is going to come on Thomas Frank. And I think as fans, you just want to see something that you can get behind, some sort of identity
Yeah.
and so on. Moving on, funny enough, we are not going to talk about Manchester United next. No, because Liverpool are lower on the log than the Red Devils. So we'll go with Liverpool. Liverpool find themselves in eighth position after 13 games. Recently, they've done a bit better. Picked up a win over the weekend without Mo Salah, which is something we have to touch on. But in their last 5 games, they've got 3 losses, 2 wins. Let me go to Jason first. Jason, Liverpool picked up the win over the weekend. The big news coming out of that is that they started without Mo Salah. So before this game, Mo Salah had started 53 consecutive league games for Liverpool. And this time he found himself on the bench. What was your reaction to seeing him on the bench and then seeing that Liverpool also won without him?
Yeah, obviously a shock. We know one of the key things around Mo Salah is his availability, and that's something that is shown in all his time here. Yeah, I think it's maybe a foreshadowing for what's going to happen once he leaves to AFCON. So I think Slots maybe just trying. And I saw a tweet recently that said, teams think that their system works well, and then it's just them playing against West Ham. So oftentimes teams can always get a nice little win against West Ham. So what a game to test out. And I'm sorry if I'm offending any West Ham fans, but I'm sure if you guys were on, you would probably say the same thing. Yeah, so I think it's definitely a sign for what's to come when he leaves for AFCON. I suppose a positive for them that they were able to get the win, but yeah, I still don't think that they're extremely convincing, and I think they are going to struggle, especially over the winter period. And there's still a bit of Champions League as well that needs to be tied up. So yeah,
Yeah, so what that change meant for Liverpool is that they moved away from the 4-3-3 they traditionally play when Salah is in the 11, and they were able to switch to a formation that allowed Florian Wirtz to play in a 10 role. And if you look at the game, right, he had a lot of movement. He was able to pick up
yeah,
positions on the field, which you're not able to pick up when you play 4-3-3. He was sitting in pockets of
yeah,
space between the midfield and the defense. He was moving back to pick up the ball deeper. He was cutting forward, playing a lot of through balls. And I think it might be, like you're saying, it's a sign of what's to come when Salah is out, but it kind of allows Slot to play his more preferred formation and style of football, which is a bit different to what worked with Liverpool in the past. Always talking about the rock and roll style football under Klopp. And I think it could be quite interesting moving forward if Wirtz gets that opportunity. He might be able to get some sort of consistent form. And AF, coming to you with this, obviously the changes in midfield, we saw Szoboszlai moving to the right and just provide a bit more solidity because he does defend obviously better than Salah, and it allowed Liverpool to pick Joe Gomez at right back as well. So they were a bit more solid, and with that formation, they were able to funnel the ball to Wirtz and let him dictate where the attack is going to come from.
Yeah, and it's something that I don't understand why Arne Slot didn't do in the past 2 weeks. Joe Gomez was available on the bench. He's been there, but he just kept on trying to put other people in that right back position. So Bosley, he tried Indo at one point. Curtis Jones also played there. So, I mean, you have a guy that's played right back, he's played left back. He's more solid than the other players. It's weird. And then the one time that he does it, Liverpool look a bit more content on the pitch. Everybody knows their roles, knows their positions, and it was business as usual for them. West Ham didn't play too badly in the first half, though, so they can feel a bit aggrieved. But yeah, the fact that Alexander Isak also is off the mark now, I think that he's just going to be building on that, and then Liverpool will be building off that with momentum as well.
Yeah, speaking of Isak, nice for him to get the goal, to kind of break the duck. And with all the talk about Walter Maida obviously hitting the ground running with Newcastle and Isak struggling, it looks like they just needed to have that change in formation a little bit, which suits the characteristics of a Wirtz and of a Isak. So, Riaz, do you see Liverpool kicking on after this result and trying to play that type of football with that formation?
I hope so. I've been calling for the Salah drop for weeks, so I was very happy when that happened. And
Yeah, all it took
I,
for you was to fly to Doha for it to happen.
as long as it happened, it works out for them. I mean, and I actually forgot about Joe Gomez and the fact that he was able to play right back. It's such a simple solution to their problems at right back. I mean, playing Soboslai there was clearly a massive issue to the balance of the team. So to have Joe Gomez there and pushing Soboslai, no matter where he is play, as long as he's playing somewhere forward, he works for the team. So to have Joe Gomez playing right back was such a simple solution and something I didn't think about. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I think that will really solve a couple of things like for them for the near future. And I think Salah leaving is the best thing for them because then they can do this kind of thing where they adjust there to playing the way that Wirtz and Isak wants to play. And I think it's going to help them. Definitely, I think it's going to help them. I think they'll be a bit more defensively sound. And I think going forward, they'll have a bit more threats. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think they'll do really well this weekend. Who are they playing today? They're playing
Sunderland.
Sunderland. Oh, that's going to be, that's it.
So
Gonna be a
I
good
think
one.
to take that a little further, yes, I think you make a good point about the defense being a bit more solid this way, and it just means that there's more structure in what they're doing. And like
Yeah.
Mubin is saying, Gomez is injury prone, which is why he doesn't play every game. And there will be games, obviously, where they hopefully have their first choice right back fit again, right? It would be Frimpong, could even be Bradley, where they could have those guys back in the team, and it gives them options. But I do think the future for Liverpool is going to be to maximize Wirtz and Isak is to move away from the traditional 4-3-3 that they played and to try and adopt this approach more. Coming up in the next three games, they've got Sunderland home, Leeds away, Brighton home. So it seems like a fairly easy run on paper, with Brighton being a team that's highest on the log in that group. And I think after that, it would be fair to say Liverpool could pick up
Spurs.
three consecutive wins.
What did he say? He just
I just
said
heard
something.
someone
Spurs.
shout Spurs. I
No, it
think
wasn't
he's
me.
still
They have
stuck in
Spurs
the.
after that as well. Yeah. So I mean, you then saying after that, are you saying that they're going to pick up 3 wins? Is it in the Leeds Brighton or is it the Spurs, Wolves, and Leeds after that? Are
All of
you
the
shooting
above.
the guys while he's here?
All of the above. I'm talking about Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton. That's the next three
Sunderland's going to be the
fixtures,
most difficult game.
including
Okay.
this one, and then obviously Spurs, Wolves later on. So
You
they do
guys
have
reckon Salah starts on the bench tonight again?
no. I
Sorry,
think he
man.
plays tonight.
He
I think
plays.
he starts as well, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think they leave the guy out 2 games in a row, especially considering that they are going to lose him to AFCON. You
Yeah.
don't want to now not play him at all. So there'll be
Yeah.
rotation. And I think that's important because the games are coming in thick and fast. You need to rotate guys. So you'll probably bring Salah
Yeah.
back in. But I think one of the positive things is knowing that that works. He can always
Yeah.
start Salah and then bring someone on at halftime and change his shape. You know what I mean? Because he has that option. So, it could be something like that. I do want to see Ekatike come back in, so maybe that happens. But I do think Liverpool have a good run of fixtures coming up, and they can definitely make some progress up the table in the next couple of games. Like you mentioned, Jason, they also have the Spurs game, followed by
Yeah.
Wolves. So again, it looks like a good run of fixtures on paper. Where if
Easy.
you add that 5 games by the end of the year, they definitely going to be up. I reckon probably in the top 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, agreed.
If you agree, disagree.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in the agreement camp over there. I think just I'm just gonna go to Du's comment over here that the run of fixtures should boost their confidence. This should and could are very similar words but mean completely different things. So
Also,
um
that hopefully, that's
yeah,
your
it's like
hopefully should
they're trying to
hopefully
back it
boost our
up.
confidence.
It's like, okay, now I didn't technically say that, but yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it should boost their confidence. But we've seen how the December run of fixtures can backfire on many teams,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe
So,
the weekend's
so on
result
that
could have
note,
been a flash in the pan as well.
I do want to bring the Liverpool fans back into the mix here. and also return the favor from early on. When we speak of December and the run of fixtures, if there was ever a team who had an easy run in December, it's going to be Man United because all they have to do is play league games. There's no cups for them. They have to arrange in-season, behind closed doors friendlies against teams to get extra games. So
Yeah.
United, you're up next, sitting seventh on the log. Looking at your past five fixtures, form is pretty decent. 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. That's pretty good. Um, you've got West Ham coming up, you've got Wolves coming up, you've got Bournemouth coming up. So on paper, also speaking of the should boost confidence thing that Du was
Yeah.
talking about earlier, United are in a similar position to Liverpool in terms of the fixture run and getting a couple of wins under their belt and points to move up the table, which I see probably happening. But I'm going to come to Jason first with this. Jason, over the weekend, obviously, I know that you watched the Palace game more intently than you watched the Arsenal game. Again, I'm just going what I see on social media. Your thoughts on United's fight back? AFN already spoke about this over the weekend, so I want to get um, a neutral view on United's
It's not
comeback.
neutral at all. Jason is not
Yeah,
neutral at
Yeah,
all.
I'd say that between myself and Riaz, neither of us are neutral, seeing as he supports everybody. But yeah,
And
I
you
think
support what?
they were definitely. I'm there, guys. Okay, I
Okay,
now
fair
am
enough, fair enough. Sorry,
sobering
carry
down.
on. I interrupted you.
Keep me there. Yeah, no, I think there were large parts where I thought, okay, it's the same old United, but I think something kicked in that second half, and they actually just took the game by the scruff of the neck. The thing with Crystal Palace recently, they know that they've had it over United for this last few years. I think United haven't gotten a win prior to this one that they got over the weekend since like 2023, home and away, which is it's not saying much, right? Because it's not that long ago, but it's at least like 6 games or something close to that, at least 5, maybe 6 games. So yeah, I'm not going to say I was pleasantly surprised, but I think from a United perspective, they could probably be happy with the fight that they showed. There were a few errors which would always exist. It is Man United after all. But yeah, I think it's definitely
Yeah,
a good
come
win,
on.
and I think it's definitely one to hopefully boost their confidence going forward.
yeah, for sure. I think I see AF is starting to just warm up a little. You know, when you turn the oven
I
on
can
and you
see
was
it,
waiting
bro.
it
That
to
steam is
heat
coming
up
off his head there
before
already.
Yeah,
you
I was.
you you put it in. So we're gonna just let AF come to temperature because it says preheat to 180 and I think he's only at 160. So Riaz, just
Talk about
to
this
touch on that.
untied road. Where's the untied road?
So,
Mubin needs to
someone's
spell
typing.
check over there.
Someone's
Yeah.
typing too fast, it said. So Riaz, just to bring you here in, Mr. Ronnie, fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Definitely choosing his words wisely.
Yes,
You've taught him well. So great job. Riaz, for you, just with regards to Manchester United, I did see that Jason spoke about as well. I agree with regards to the fight and the game. They kind of took it in the second half and like they basically just said, look, we're not going to lose here. And however we get this win, we're going to get it. And it came together nicely. And I know you like to talk about players that generally we all like to hate on or pile on the pressure. So the floor is yours to discuss Joshua Zirkzee.
No, what I'm actually gonna, I know this is a United segment, but what I actually want to do is to say that Crystal Palace had a game midweek, just getting off that, what we said earlier about United not having games midweek. Palace had to play on Thursday. They're tired. They only have like a small squad of like 11 people that can actually play football. Obviously, in the second half of a game, on this early kickoff game, they're going to kind of drift out, So it was kind of expected that United should have come back in that game, especially compared to how badly they played in that first half. The second half should have been better, and they should have actually come back in the game. So Palace kind of, unfortunately, kind of ran out of steam, and they're playing again tonight or something. So it's going to be difficult for them. I feel sorry for them because of the kind of the Thursday, Sunday thing. But yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, Joshua Zirkzee, as long as it's not, I'm off the Zirkzee hate train now because I have a new one. Tesco is there, so now he can take up the hate. And I'm happy. You know what, Zirkzee, score all the goals you want. It's all good. And I think my boy scored the second goal, did he not? My actual boy. Let me just make sure.
Mason Mount.
There you go. My boy scored the second goal. So
Oh,
Yes,
that's
EFF.
why his hair is like this today. Mason Mount has his hair
The
like
honor
that.
of Mason Mount. That makes a lot of sense. Riaz, thanks for dodging my question about Xerxes. It was a fantastic finish from him from a very narrow angle.
super
Surprised he
should
was able to beat
save near
Dean
post though.
Henderson
Super
from
should
that
save near
position.
post. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised he beat Henderson from that position, but fantastic goal, and I think he'll grow in confidence now, knowing that he'll have to start. Seeing
Yeah.
as though United have the injury problem you mentioned with Sesko, also going to be losing a couple of players to AFCON, which we'll come back to. But I think you got AF nicely up to temperature when you said that it was expected Palace to fall away in the second half.
Yeah.
AF, how nice does it feel to see that sort of fight back from your team,
To
which
win
you really
again.
crumbled under the pressure in the
Yeah, I don't
past?
know how that feels. Don't worry.
The before I want to talk about this, I just want to say, Jason, Dan's probably gone out tonight, eh?
100%.
You have free reign. You have free reign. 100%.
Guys, I can say what I want. I've made supper already, so it's fine. Don't worry.
Oh, he has the wooden spoon. It's fine. He hid them away.
I see. I see. I respect it. I respect it. Well done. Yeah, no, it was good to see them like fight back. That must have been a hell of a team talk at halftime, because that first half was I felt like, am I watching this team last year again? Like it's like they haven't learned any of their lessons. But yeah, that whatever was said at halftime, they came out in the second 45. They did what needed to be done, and yeah, man, I'm happy for Joshua Xerxes. I still think that he's going to be off in January on loan. But just on Riaz's point about Thursday, Sunday, we had that in common last year, bro. Like we
True.
both made the Europa League
Why we
final,
living in the
so
past, you guys?
so that's why like you have to understand, bro. Thursday,
Yeah, but
Sunday is a
only
thing.
one of us were able to win it. So unfortunately,
That's
you have
fair.
more time in the week.
That's
It's a
fair.
good
That's
thing.
fair.
It's a good thing that you have more time in the week because now you're able to beat teams that don't have time.
100%. I
And
don't care, bro.
now you are
As long as
2 and
you're winning the
1, and
game.
we are like 1 and 6 losses or something. So it's better for you guys. You guys are doing better. You guys at least know how to win a game. We don't. So
Thank you. Thank you. I love that.
I like
nothing.
this head down version of Riaz. It's very exciting. He doesn't seem to be on any fences today. He seems to
Nah,
be
no offenses.
Until the
taking
Wait till the
predictions come
predictions
predictions
on.
later.
come, man.
No, that's why I thought that today I'm gonna avoid predictions, cause chaos. But I
Nice.
just want
Maybe
to
it's
bring in
the
the
E
set.
over in Qatar, you know.
Maybe the AC is boosting there. I just want to
Maybe he
bring in
knows
the set
that we don't
piece.
have access to him. That's why.
Yeah, I want to bring in the set piece FC expert, Jason. I think the moment has come for us to is someone knocking on your door there or something? Or
No, you were saying
I saw
set
you
piece
checking your
expert,
blind
but I
spots.
heard that was Chelsea. That was
No,
Chelsea.
no,
No,
I
not
actually
us
I think
anymore.
I'm ready to do the handover to United, who have the same amount of set piece goals as Arsenal this season.
There we
10. It's
go.
also 50% of the goals they score are set pieces. So it seems to be a league-wide trend, jokes aside.
Yeah, that
And
is
obviously
true.
they scored two. They scored two on the weekend with the first one to Xerxes, obviously ball over the top from the free kick, and he took the touch and then scored. And then Mason Mount was a bit of a sneaky set play where Bruno rolled the ball for Mount to hit, which I like. I like those type
Yeah.
of free kick
Yeah.
plays, not just the guy running in and hitting it. It reminds you of the past where you pass to other guy, stops it, change the angle and so on. But with that being said about the set pieces, United do kind of rely on it a bit more in recent times, especially.
Yeah, and there's no shade or shame to it actually. It's a valid
Yeah,
way to score goals. So the chat around it at the start of the season was also a bit weird
Yeah.
because back in the day people used to praise Beckham for his set piece delivery. So now it's changed. So I actually like it. It's a route to score. So why would you not put more emphasis on it? Why would you not practice it? So yeah, maybe it is a bit concerning that they are now maybe getting the goals from corners, but maybe this is the little period that they have to go through now when their strikers are misfiring, and Rasmus is on loan and he's just scoring for fun there in Italy. So yeah, let's see how it goes, man. But what is concerning, or not what's concerning, but what's funny for me is that when you had a 6'9" striker in Sesko, you never once used to cross the ball. Now you're putting in crosses every game and you're putting him there all the time, and then Sesko's not even there. And then the smallest guys are actually winning the headers and having to compete. Even there was a few crosses where Xerxes put it in, and I'm like, brother, you need to actually be in the box. So yeah.
Yeah, fair play. If I'm going to bring you in here just to tell me about AFCON quickly. Who are United losing and what type of impact do you think it's going to have on the club?
So it's Ahmad, Mazraoui, and Mbomo. That's basically our entire right side.
Yeah.
So yeah, the impact is going to be bad. I don't think that there's any other way to put it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Probably Dilo at right wing back, terrible. They'll probably have to
Can't you
play.
send him off to AFCON? Can't you send him and keep somebody
How
else?
long? How long is Siska out for? AF?
Apparently, he's back in by the end of next week. So
Okay.
I think
So then,
that
so then
lines
you can
up
play.
with.
You can play like Mount and Cunha. It'll be fine.
Will probably happen that way. Even though,
Yeah.
like, my preferred thing would be to bring Bruno back forward again.
Oh, that's a
Get
better idea. Yeah, that's a better idea.
your most like creative and most lethal scorer. Get
Yeah,
him closer to the box
I like that
instead of
idea.
having him chill in front of the three defenders. But I mean, Ruben's the manager, not me. So I'm just a couch talker here in Cape Town. Um, but yeah, it's gonna affect us a lot. I do want all of those players to have long runs in the Afcon though, because I feel like the Afcon needs to be taken more seriously. I think a lot of pundits look down on that competition compared to all the other ones. So I hope that it's entertaining, and I hope all of our players have really, really good tournaments and come back with some really good confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that Onana didn't make Cameroon squad, so there is a chance that Mbeumo does stay longer at the AFCON now. That seems to be the
True.
trend, the trending comments on social media with regards to that. But just to wrap up with United, I think they're doing fairly well this season. And for me, the biggest thing is that they're doing enough to win some of these games that they need to win. And that's
Yeah,
seeing them try and gathering some momentum. Like
yeah,
AF says, when the players do go to AFCON, it's going to be a big test because the players who've been doing well for them in Mbumo and Amad Diallo, they've actually the ones that are going to be missed quite a bit. But it might free up opportunities for others. You never know. So you're right, Ramiz. I think that's the big issue with regards to why people look down on the AFCON. It's because in the Premier League season. And if you disrupt anything in the Premier League, then it causes some sort of issue. So or European football for that matter. So I think that's a big reason why it does get a bit of shape. But yeah, hopefully it's a great tournament, and teams are announcing their squad, so we're starting to see which players are going to be moving along. And speaking of moving along, we are going to move further up the table to the blue side of London, as Sadiq likes to talk about all the time, where we're looking at Chelsea, who are sitting in third position on the log. Some good recent form. They had 3 wins, followed by that draw to Arsenal in their last 4 or 5 games. Looking ahead, they have Leeds United away. They've got Bournemouth away, followed by Everton at home. So the fixture run doesn't look too challenging on paper, but again, we saw that Leeds have a bit of fight in them with regards to that game they played against Man City, where I thought they were fantastic, especially in the second half after some of the changes. Bournemouth, obviously, a really good side, even though they're down on form at the moment. And then Everton, they are hit and miss, but if Grealish decides to drag the team up, they do play a bit better. So Chelsea, very good over the weekend. I thought they played really well against Arsenal. They drove home that advantage of playing at Stamford Bridge. And yeah, I thought they did really well. For me, Reece James, fantastic. I like what being able to play Reece James in midfield does for the rest of the team. So when you
yeah,
play him there, it allows Enzo to play a little bit more up the pitch, which is something we were talking about now with United, trying to get away for Bruno to play up. And with Chelsea, by playing Caicedo and Reece James together, it does free up that other midfield slot. So for me, that was a real standout of the game that they played recently against Arsenal was the performance of Reece James. But I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to hand it over to my esteemed colleagues over here, Riyaz. So for you, what did you make of Chelsea in the last game against Arsenal and just in recent times?
Yeah, this is going to pain me because I really don't like Chelsea. I think that's evident, and it's been evident for the past however many years we've been doing this. But they're playing really well. It's very annoying. They're playing very, very good football. Like you said, Reece James playing in the middle is a game changer. And they were, at some points, with one man down, the better team against the league leaders, which is very surprising. They played really, really well on the weekend, but they've been playing well. And they, of course, slip up. Every team slips up now and then, but consistently, they've been playing really good football and getting results. And I still think they'll fall away. It's going to be we need to look at them too. Yeah, it's. I still think Mariska is a bit of a. I don't want to say fraud, but I think that they could have done better. They could have done better, but he's doing really well. He has a good squad. Even Garnacho is playing well. They're using him well. So I think that they will be there and thereabouts come the end of the season. I think it's going to get closer towards the end of the season. It's going to be really, really close. But unfortunately for me, Chelsea are playing good football, and I can't wait for the lap to start hitting his straps. I don't like Chelsea, but I really like the lap. So when he comes into his own and he starts playing really well, I think they'll be a different beast altogether.
The lap didn't start, so I'm going to bring him off the bench like he did over the weekend. But before we get to that part of it, Austin, some good points. Maresca is getting better and better. He's following in the footsteps of others that have managed under Pep, like Arteta. You get better and better every season. I don't know where Riaz comes with fraud. If we want to talk about fraud, we just need to look.
That was Riaz. It wasn't me.
Look at
I'm just
Thomas
being salty.
Apologies.
Hey, was just catching the shots today.
Yeah, I don't know why. But,
what is this? We don't even sound the same.
Apologies. I was just
Philly barbershop talk. Thanks for coming, brother or sister. But Arsenal, we will discuss soon, and then we can get to your prediction on that. But thanks
and don't apologize for your prediction.
Arsenal.
Be proud of it. Say it with your chest. Don't apologize.
Yeah. I mean, Philly all the way, bro. Eagles, Phillies, bring it. 76ers, let's go. It's nice to have a barbershop because some of these O's look like they need a haircut here.
Yeah, that would be me, please. If you available.
So coming back to Chelsea, you mentioned the lap. He came off the bench, and I thought he looked really good. With regards to the attack, they're starting to get the guys fit, and that gives them options. So if you look at Chelsea's options, right? They got Esteva, they got Garnacho, they got João Pedro, they got the lap. They've got Gittins, they've got Pedro Neto. They've got options, right? And I think that's quite exciting if you're a Chelsea fan going forward, literally and figuratively.
It is quite exciting. And I think out of all of those players that you mentioned over there, Pedro Neto is the one constant in almost every starting 11. He's the one that it seems Maresca is building that front line around every match. And in my opinion, he's the one that causes the opposition like the most problems going forward. Sometimes they don't know what to do with him. Estevao is extremely exciting. You forgot about Tyreek George also. I don't know what's his situation at Chelsea. If he's just going to be kicked out now in January, they're just waiting until the window opens and off he goes. But yeah, it's really like they have a nice range of talent over there for them to be using across the different competitions that they are in. But yeah, like the fact that you can swap around Liam Delap and João Pedro up front as well. It must be nice to have that sort of luxury as Enzo Maresca can.
Yeah, speaking of midfielders returning, Jason, Cole Palmer is making a return from injury, kind of like you often do when it comes to soccer season. How big of a impact is it going to be to have Cole Palmer back for Chelsea, especially with their upcoming run? I think the games are fairly simple on paper, so to have him available, it could mean that they take advantage of these games. Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I think he adds that extra level. They've now shown that without him, they've been able to get the wins. I think also on paper, games in the Prem maybe might seem easy. Maybe they actually aren't. I think we've seen many teams stumble. I also feel that the fixtures that they've had, I think barring maybe the Liverpool game and then the Arsenal game, they haven't really played really exceptionally strong teams in the
Thanks.
league. So they've still got a few games where those sort of tests would be put to them. I think Brighton went to the bridge, beat them 3-1. Sunderland came there. So yeah, I think there's definitely great signs of improvement, and I do concur that the team is growing. Whether they can nail down the correct front line is always going to be the thing. I think there still seems to be a bit of there are a few like small egos that might seem to develop. I noticed in a few of the games where they may be through on the line and they're not squaring it. You can see that there's a visible frustration
Yeah.
when players are not passing. So those are the things that Maresca has to navigate. You've got a lot of young up and coming talent, and all of them think of themselves as world beaters. So how he manages that would probably be the next test in his young managerial career. But yeah, getting a guy like Cole Palmer can only be a good thing. I think they've done well with him. They've done better, it seems, without him. But I think going into the tricky period where teams can sometimes slip up, it definitely can't hurt them.
Yeah, Cole Palmer, he trademarked his celebrations and no one else can use it. Going into December, it's cold, so everything is lining up for Palmer to take December by storm. Austin says we need him, or Chelsea needs him for the low blocks. Fair enough. They're going to need that incisiveness, I guess, that he brings to the team. Tommy, welcome to the show. Woolwich sucks. I honestly don't know what Woolwich is, and I apologize if you could please elaborate on Woolwich.
He's a
I
Spurs
think that's
supporter.
Arsenal, man. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
he's a
referring to
Spurs
Arsenal, but
supporter.
that's Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for schooling me there.
Me too.
And yeah, actually, I don't know what to say to that, but thanks for taking the time to make that comment. We appreciate you. And, it is tough from up here, but we're happy to have you join us. Moving on from Chelsea, we had Mariska that people were talking about, his young managerial career. Let's go to his mentor, the guy that brought him into management, that shaped his philosophy, Pep Guardiola, who apparently, I didn't know this, that people who are bald can actually lose hair. I didn't know that was possible. According to him, he lost hair last night. In a
The follicles.
nine
The
goal thriller
follicles.
against Fulham, who have struggled to score a goal all season. Suddenly they score four against City. But City held on for the win 5-4. And that goes with their recent results where they've won two games before they lost to Newcastle, and then they won another two after that. So they've been doing quite well recently, moving up to second on the table, only 2 points off the leaders, Arsenal, and their next two fixtures are Sunderland at home and Crystal Palace away. I know, Jason, you said there aren't any easy games in the Premier League, and you're probably right. But if you were a Man City fan looking at that fixture run, you're probably feeling confident of getting 6 points in those fixtures. Um, Coming to you, Riaz, City, they've made goals scoring seem quite easy in recent times.
Yeah, they're doing well to score goals. I still think that, in both the last two games against Leeds and against Fulham, they're conceding quite a bit as well. So it's very interesting to see it will be very interesting to see how the kind of defensive system is going to work moving forward, because they've now stuck to a back four of, thank you for that. You could have just said that instead of typing it, but thank you. I appreciate it.
It has no
That's
impact when
easy.
he typed it, yeah.
I lost my train of thought now.
No, but
She was
Jason, actually, you made a good point, right? Because I asked a Spurs fan about City scoring goals. He flipped my question around to talk about
I
defending
told you
and the
this
fact that
man
they
is a
can't defend.
politician. Nobody believed me when I said this man worked for the ANC Youth League. He's got his foundation in avoiding questions. But guys,
Yeah,
I just
I
avoid
think
things in general, not questions
we're
only.
gonna bench him quickly. AF, can we bring you in just to add something about Man City's attack or their ability to score goals?
I think the fact that Phil Foden is hitting
Yeah.
his stride again is just benefiting them tenfold. That's something that they were missing or they were lacking quite a bit when he. I don't know where his head was during that period, but yeah, he seems to have found his stride again. He's doing all of these like crazy passes that nobody's seeing. And I mean, Ireland is the one that's benefiting from a lot of them as well. I think Jeremy Doku as well. This is probably his best season thus far in a Man City shirt. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that's coming together. It's what's happening at the back that they need to start looking at. And I think it was 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago when Yasin mentioned in the chat about pressing Donnarumma. And I don't know if any of the Premier League players were watching the stream that day, but it seems like that's happening week on week now. Like they're just trying to put him under pressure as much as possible, and they're reaping rewards from it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, I guess. And the other thing is when they do get up the pitch, they tend to leave a lot of space to put the ball in behind, and we see teams exploit it. Leeds found it quite easy to hit a diagonal ball to whoever was playing on the right. I think it was Dan James on Saturday,
Yeah,
and he went one-on-one at Nico O'Reilly, and I think it's very similar with regards to other teams. They're finding that space out wide and behind the back four that they're exploiting quite a bit. And as good as Nico Gonzalez has been, he isn't quite the lockdown holding midfielder that the Rodri was. So there are some opportunities if you win the ball to transition quickly against City, and that's where your opportunity comes to score goals. Again, beating Donnarumma one-on-one is tough. You know, one of the best shot stoppers out there. But City, you can score against them. The
Yeah.
problem that you have is when you are chasing goals, they're going to score against you as well, which
Yeah.
they've shown. You know, coming to that 5-1 lead yesterday, and they managed to hold on. But it is quite tough for them with their defense. Jason, I'll bring you in here speaking about defending. City can be opened up at the back, and that's one of their biggest weaknesses. Do you think they're going to be able to tighten this up, or is this going to be a theme for the rest of the season?
I think it's going to be a thing for the rest of the season. You had alluded to Nico Gonzalez, and I was reading up about him, and I think there's a massive gap in Rodri, and they found somebody that's maybe similar. But what you're doing is, with nobody else that can play the role, Nico Gonzalez has now played maybe like 9 consecutive games where he plays at least about 70 minutes. Now, in a team that's playing the way that they are, and there's so many transitions, and the system isn't as fluid, he's covering lots of ground and having to do a lot more cover when the front line's maybe not doing all of their work. So there's definitely a gap, and there's definitely spaces to expose if teams can hold out and just sort of wait for City to tie. You know, play the low block, work on that transition football as we've seen many teams do, and then. Yeah, just on that Donnarumma, you also said that he's very hard to beat one-on-one, but the goals last night, I think his feet, he struggles to move his feet quickly enough. I mean, he's obviously a big keeper, but if you think of Smith Rowe's header, which was just outside the 6-yard area, flicked it all the way to the far post, all the other goals were from outside the box, and he just couldn't get down quick enough, and he just
yeah,
couldn't move his feet quick enough. So it's definitely something to consider. Not something that I'm going to say I've watched extensively and saying that's how you must beat him, but it's definitely something that I picked up last night, and also just that Nico Gonzalez. They are not controlling the possession as much as they previously did, and teams are now able to exploit that more. They are getting a bit more clinical, and yeah, I think it was showed last night. It was showed against Leeds as well, and then I think Bayer Leverkusen beat them in the week as well. So
yeah.
they're not completely like solid, which maybe is a sign of something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Grimaldo
they are.
and Chukwueze scored like two similar goals, like a week apart.
Yeah,
Quasi looks good, by the way. I really like him.
Yeah, no, no,
yeah.
he's good. It's a fun fact, something that I found out over the weekend. Calvin Phillips is still a Manchester City player.
That
Yeah.
Is wild.
is a fun fact for sure. That is definitely a
Yeah, you
fun
gotta
fact.
cash those checks, bro. If no one else is gonna pay you, you take the money. You can always leave a bit later on, aka Danny Drinkwater. Ramiz is saying that Trafford wants to leave City. I had to read that a
Yeah,
few times because I was wondering is he talking about Old Trafford or is he talking about the goalkeeper? But it seems like it's the goalkeeper. Obviously, he's gonna want to leave. He was signed because Man City had the first right of refusal or whatever the case is. They brought him in, and when the opportunity came to sign Donnarumma, they took it, which you can't blame them for. But in a World Cup year, it is a tough break for Trafford because he kind of didn't control his destiny. He couldn't go to another club because his contract states that, City can decide whether or not to purchase him. But I think there might be a loan move coming for him in January if all parties can agree. City aren't obliged to do it, but I think it would be beneficial for all parties if they are able to get a loan move to another Premier League club. Where does he go? I'm not certain who really needs a goalkeeper right now. Obviously, a couple of teams that you could throw in the mix, but generally at this point of the season, teams are kind of settled.
Yeah.
I don't know which keepers, especially in the
I
relegation
was gonna
candidate
say
teams who've
Chelsea.
done really bad. If any of you have anything to add there, where can Trafford go? Feel free to jump in.
I think Chelsea's a good Chelsea's a good a good kind of guess, but I think that going there on loan is pointless. I think that if he goes to Chelsea, they should pay for him. He should go permanently, and he should go and be the number one keeper. Going on loan for half a season is pointless. So I don't think
There's
see
no
why.
That's an
way City
interesting
allows
shout.
that though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Although they did allow
and I
Palmer to
agree.
go for like
There's also no way Robert
That
Sanchez allows that. He probably tears up the contract and says, "Nah, this is mine."
Robert Sanchez has
Yeah,
improved a lot, guys.
yes, I'll
He
give you
has
that.
improved a lot.
yeah. Look, I never hated the keeper. It's the Chelsea fans that keep telling us that he's terrible.
But he was terrible.
So just swimming
Yeah, he
down
was
following the
unbelievable.
current. But yeah, it's going to be tough for Trafford to get that move,
Yeah.
unless there's any injuries with the goalkeeper or a team like Fulham maybe want to switch from Leno, which I don't see. Burnley or Wolves or someone take him on.
Maybe West
But
Ham.
he definitely needs to play if he wants to get back in the England setup for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Going
it's
back
going
to
to be
Burnley would be
curtains for him.
wild.
Yeah, it could be quite interesting, But let's see what happens. And that brings us to
The end of the show. Thank
the
you
team
guys for
that's top
joining
of the
us this
log
evening.
currently. I can't disappoint people, man. I know Philly
Are we
Barbershop wants to
previewing it?
talk about Villa beating Arsenal. We obviously got Tommy who says we suck. So, you know, we gotta give the people what they want. So it does bring us to Arsenal, who are top of the log at the moment, and I think it doesn't mean anything with regards to the order we cover the teams, just the way the log is set up. Arsenal are 2 points ahead of City at the moment with the game in hand. They do play Brentford home tonight, so and then they've got Villa away, which they're probably going to lose according to the chat, and then they've got Wolves at home. So on paper again, they're playing teams that are lower down on the log. Well, literally every team's currently lower on the log, but they're playing against teams that ideally you expect them to beat. But I do think tonight's game against Brentford is going to be a bit of a challenge because Brentford do employ that low block that Arsenal do struggle to break down. Jason, just talk to me about how you're feeling at the moment. Seeing your team top of the log with the fixtures that we have ahead of us. How are you feeling?
Um, Feels eerily reminiscent of my teenage years when we used to top it around Christmas. It feels very reminiscent of a few years back where we matched the same points total. So, yeah, not getting too ahead of myself with it. I'm also not taking too much from the game over the weekend. Just like I think we came out of an exceptionally tough and emotional week. So to then go to the bridge and get a 1-1 where we were playing poorly. Again, in the games where we played poorly, the first game of the season, Man United, we won. The game we played poorly against City to start off, we had drawn. And then Sunderland, drawn. And now against Chelsea as well. So I'm not mad about the fact that on the days that we play poor, we don't lose. But yeah, feeling maybe a bit more nervous. I think that cushion evaporated very quickly. But what I've seen from the team this year is that there's a bit more of a resilience to them. It's a bit more of a steel to them. So yeah, I'm not feeling too pressured yet. Nobody wins the league in November, December. So yeah, as long as we're there and we're thereabouts, I'm chilling.
How long
Yeah, you
is
made a
Saliba
good.
out for? Just sorry, looking up.
Saliba, I think he's out maybe for like 3 weeks as well. Everybody, it's all just playing again. Looking at Mosquera and Piro Capie, it was their first time that they played together. So I'm also not mad about that. They
Yeah,
did. I think they did a lot better than what we expected
they
them
did
to do.
well.
You know, in in a game that was meant to be
Yeah.
cagey, that was bound to be physical. You know, I think Chelsea maybe made it more than what it needed to be. Yeah, I think they had managed that well, and yeah, I'd have loved to see it 11 against 11 for the full game, but that's the shin kicker. That's what he does. So yeah. Also, I did have the Thierry look when I was like 16, 17, 18. Didn't have
Really?
the pace, didn't have the hamstrings, but yeah.
Yeah, the look. That's important. You should show us one day.
No.
Arsenal
Listen,
win
that
tonight. You should rock that look tonight.
that hairstyle is perfect. Let's not get into
I don't
showing his head
know.
now.
This
Well,
guy
he's
knows
was
who's
married
not
now,
watching.
so it don't matter
Who's
what he
not
look
going to
like.
look
So
at the
we can
No,
sort
no,
him out.
guys. Look,
He can
there's
was scattered all off.
You
It's
have
fine.
Riaz coming with a new hairstyle, so I mean, might as
Yeah,
well get
join
everybody
me.
to shake it up.
Join me.
hey,
Let's
if
get
if United win 5 games, do you grow your hair?
I don't think I can.
Don't you dare limit yourself, mate. Okay.
Look, some of us aren't blessed with
Riaz.
hair growth, okay? Jason, please.
Riaz, things are going sideways. Yeah, a couple of
No,
points
sorry.
from Jason and then that AF brought up as well. I'll swing your way. Firstly, the fact that they're not losing, I think, is quite interesting because we're not talking about them going out and beating teams, mightily like they beat Spurs. It's generally been like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 type of wins where they're doing enough to win. Even the draws, it's just not losing as opposed to going out and winning. Some might say that's not great and whatever the case is, but what are your thoughts on that first? And then second, just touch on the squad depth that Arsenal have or have needed to use this season so far.
Is that me or AF? Is that
No,
me?
you. It's all you.
Okay.
It's all you.
Okay, I'm gonna try and
He
I'm gonna try
wants
and
the
answer the question.
Spurs, man, to talk
I'm gonna
about
try and
Arsenal.
I'm gonna try and answer the question without getting sidetracked.
Crying. Yeah.
So no worries, I'll never cry. I think the squad depth is like I think we said this at the beginning of the season that the squad depth is the best squad depth in the league. So I think it's and they've had to use it. So it's very interesting to see how they've kind of been using it, and like you say, not losing games, which is super important. Like the drop off in the squad in the squad depth is not that much, which is what we need, what people need in a good squad, or what teams need in a good squad. So to not be losing is very important, and I think that it's positive signs. It really is positive signs. I mean, the second choice centre backs are basically they would start in most teams that they're really good. Mosquera, and even though Mosquera is young, and Hincapié, they played really well. They have fire in them. They played really well. Having Tumba and Calafiori also is, I mean, it's basically a cheat code at this point. And I mean, the squad depth is really important. I think the fact that I mean, anybody gets points against Spurs, but all the other teams that you mentioned there is it's really important that you haven't lost. So moving forward, I think that it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can catch up. I think it's Arsenal's title to lose, of course, fattening in that squad depth because it looks like it's going to be a long season. So I'm excited. Honestly, as a Spurs fan, it doesn't matter to me. Arsenal. They play well. They play well. So clearly to Steve. Really.
Arsenal, Smarsenal, he said.
Yeah, I definitely like this version of him. He's been unlocked. I
This
don't know
guy
what
is
happened
so
there.
unfiltered, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I'll dig
This is
into
me.
it and
This
find
is
out.
how I am normally, guys. This is me always.
Nah.
Lies.
Listen, guys in the chat, please tell us this version of Riaz. It's different. Do you agree or
Amis knows
disagree?
him best
Let
because
us
he's been
know.
here for all the episodes.
Exactly. I have coming to you just with to focus on to narrowing on the Aston Villa game. Do you agree with our friend the Philly Barbershop that Arsenal are going to lose away to Villa? Or, well, if that is the case, then how do you see that play out? If Villa were to win, what do they need to do?
So I think that it's going to be tighter than a lot of people might think.
Yeah.
Villa have been playing better football over the last couple of weeks. It might be the right time for them to sort of activate. But in all honesty, I don't see them getting a win, maybe a draw. But I think Arsenal might just be too strong still. I think Arsenal's going to be riding this wave for a while still. But yeah, like I think Villa might be able to do enough to get a draw from this game.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Rogers has been in fantastic form for Villa. And the thing is going in Villa's favor, obviously, Unai Emery, he always ups his game when it comes to playing against Arsenal. And Arsenal haven't done well at Villa Park in the past. I think it's recent results, they haven't been great. The thing, though, with regards to Villa, they've been winning games in recent times, but they've been winning with a lot of shots from outside the box. And there's a lot of talk that it's unsustainable to rely on that type of goal scoring prowess as opposed to working to create better chances. And against the Arsenal defense, which is the best in the league in terms of goals conceded, they've only conceded 7 this season. It will be tough for them. They will have to rely on some sort of magic from a Morgan Rogers or Ollie Watkins to break Arsenal down. Jason, do you agree with that?
Over the weekend, it was Boubacar Kamara, and that was a worldie that he scored.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think Villa picked up form and they've done it so quietly, especially after the start of the season. I think they went 5 games without conceding a goal, or not conceding a goal, scoring a goal.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so they had a slow start, and I mean that's Unai Emery. He takes you on a wild journey. But yeah, coming into this game, I think it's been a mixed bag. We've been a bit more successful in recent times, but in the earlier years under Arteta, Villa Park used to be rocking, and they would always get our number. So yeah, I think there's definitely a chance for them, knowing that we haven't picked up points in this most recent game. Obviously, I'm not sure what's going to happen this evening. But yeah, it's just whether those players that you mentioned can actually step up. I think Morgan Rogers will always have an enemy in me because I used the free hit, brought him in, the guy did nothing. So yeah, he'll probably always have an enemy in me. So yeah, I think it's there for the taking, and Arsenal's going to have to deal with every game. Teams are going to want to be the team that's going to take that scalp. So every game's going to be cagey. Every game is going to be high energy, and it's whether we can bring things back to suit our style as opposed to matching opponent's style.
And it's
Okay.
interesting also from a Villa point of view in terms of the attacking options. You were speaking about scoring outside the box. That's because the people inside the box haven't really been scoring. Ollie
Yeah.
Watkins,
Yeah.
I think his last goal was in game week 5 or game week 6, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a while ago.
Yeah.
I think we're in game week 40 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Gesson. I think he scored about like 2 or 3 weeks
Jason.
ago.
Jason.
Is that how you say it, Jason?
No. I thought you were calling me, but I'm South African. I'm not French. Jason,
Anyways,
not
so
Gesson.
yeah, that rides on the point that they are relying on midfield goals and goals from outside the box, defenders, midfielders scoring, because the guys at the top of the park they're just not doing it.
Okay, so AF, give me a score prediction, please, sir.
2-0 Arsenal.
Jason?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. We haven't been the sharpest at the back.
Riaz.
2-1 Aston Villa, Booyakasha.
There we go.
Who even
No
says that?
thinking, no talking. He's he sounds like
I
he's
need
time
G
travel
in the
back.
house.
I don't know how many years, what portal he walked through in Doha, bruh. It's crazy. I'm going with a 1-1 draw.
Any stick for
and-
Zaddy? No stick for Zaddy.
He's
Okay.
No.
been
No, he
taking
said
your
that he
position on the
wanted
No
field
stick
to.
for
for a couple of
Zaddy.
weeks.
I do it in honor of you. And the means I think he
Thank
did
you.
short circuit like the McLaren team over the weekend in Doha. I think he's still feeling the after effects of that missed opportunity to pit
I
when
think I
everyone
am.
else went into the pits.
That's a good
Okay, and since
comparison.
I'm the host, I'm just gonna give myself a minute here just to bring everything together. Firstly, with Arsenal, I think just like we're talking about now, some good points about them not losing, talking about the squad depth and so on, and it's something similar to what I heard with regards to NFL team recently. So Riaz, again, this is more for you than anyone else. Maybe Philly Barbershop can also talk about some NFL. Let us know. But essentially, Arsenal's just been finding ways to win. You know, the teams are kind of in it. They're keeping teams close, but when the time comes to actually get a result, if it's a win or it's a draw, I think they're finding a way. And I don't know if it's going to be sustainable. I sure hope so. But we're going to see that as you go into the business end of the season, if they are still able to just change gears and go up a level when they need to. Because sometimes they just kind of stay at that level where it's enough to win, but it's not really taking the game and killing it off. I think they reserve that for the Spurs game. But if you see other
Yeah.
games where they're just winning 1-0, where they again against Chelsea coming back to equalize and draw the game 1-1, these are the type of things I'm seeing from the Gunners at the moment. So again, looking at the whole table, I know it's early doors. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season yet, but a lot can change. Like you were saying earlier, Riaz, it's Arsenal's league to lose, and I don't really see it that way. And you might say it's because I'm an Arsenal fan and I don't want to see it that way, but I think there are a lot of teams that are in the mix. And
I
Yeah.
when the
disagree
season
with you.
started,
They
for
are.
example, I remember speaking to a Liverpool fan who told me after week 5, if Liverpool win next week, then the league is done. And what's happened since then, obviously, has
Was it
proven the
Asfa?
exact opposite. Uh, Temba. It's obviously gone a different route
They must score the
in
50.
terms of that. And you see teams go on runs. You see City go on a run. Suddenly they're 2 points behind Arsenal. You see Chelsea go on a run and they're within touching distance. There's
Yeah.
also a very small gap between the teams in second position and I think 12th on the log, where
Yeah.
people can move into the European positions very quickly, drop out very quickly. So the league is very competitive at the moment. Now, some people out there are saying the league is bad. That's why the teams are close, right? But I actually think there's a lot of parity. And when I was looking at the stats preparing for today, Liverpool, for example, have scored 20 goals, conceded 20 goals. United have scored 21, conceded 20. Chelsea have, I think, 25 goals. City have a little bit more. So teams are kind of in the ballpark of each other, which in past seasons we've seen two teams kind of sprint out ahead and others trying to
Yeah.
catch up. And I think this
Yeah.
season
Yeah.
is going to be a bit different where we are going to see some movement up and down the logs. And there are going to be times when teams take advantage of fixture runs. There's injuries. Obviously, teams suffer from injuries. For me, that's never an excuse. But it is quite interesting. And I think for us going forward into December, it's going to be really exciting as a football fan because there's tons of football coming up. And speaking of tons of football, we do have the World Cup draw taking place on Friday. So we're all going to get to see who's in which group, what's things looking like for Bafana and so on. And yeah, great point, Hamza, with regards to games are closer and stakes are higher. Yeah, it's exactly that because you win two games, suddenly you in Europe, you lose two games and you're moving down the log. We've seen new managers come in at Forest and West Ham, for example. So those teams in the relegation zone could move up a little bit, right? Things are interesting. And I just keeper was throwing the ball in the net at the beginning of the season. Fair play. I think he just wanted to move to Turkey, but we leave it at that. And that brings us to the end of a very exciting, very fun episode. We had a couple of new people in the chat, which was fantastic. Please like, share, subscribe. Come join us at Sportycast. We do tons of things. We on football every week, um, but we do cover other sports, and we're trying to get some stuff off the ground with regards to that. Hamza wishes the Ashes were like that. Well, the Ashes were essentially almost like a football game, right? It was about the same amount of time, two halves. Didn't last very long. Let's hope the next one does. But yeah, that's it for us from 343. Jason, any closing comments from you?
Yeah, man, there's just quite a bit of football tonight, so let's enjoy it. Let's see Sunderland under the lights at Anfield. Let's see what they can do there. And then, yeah, let's see if United can get another one tomorrow.
Fantastic. AF, your final comments as we close off the show.
I'm just happy that there's more football, man. So I'm excited. December's going to be amazing. hopefully my team doesn't disappoint me too much.
Jason and AF, should we allow Riaz a final comment? Is it safe?
I don't know,
I
Yes.
don't
man.
know
It could
because
be
he's
raucous,
unusual at the
No,
moment.
this
I'll
look,
allow it.
if we were to rank his best episodes on the show, this might be one of them. From the
I
start,
think
he
this
was
is an
vibrant.
all-timer.
Okay.
He
So
was vibrant. He was
let's
excited. Yeah, so give him a final
let's
comment.
cross over to Doha for Riaz Parker Unfiltered.
I'm gonna echo the sentiments. I'm just gonna say, it's great to have games in the week. I mean, there was games now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there's gonna be games on the weekend. I'm glad Jason shouted out his team that are playing. I mean, it was important to support your team. So to shout out your team's game tomorrow night is important. I appreciate that from you.
We don't have enough time for you to shout out your teams, mate.
No,
We're
that's
gonna have to
true.
run
Otherwise, I'd have to
full.
speak about every
20 of
single
them.
game.
Exactly.
That's not going to work. That's 10 games, besides the Arsenal game. But then the Arsenal game is not covered by either of us. That's bad. Thanks all for joining us. Thank you guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys back next week again. But I'm not closing the ad.
Fantastic. What I want from everyone in the comments, flood our social media also if you want to see more of this version of Riaz. We'll try to bring it back in the coming weeks, but that's a wrap. This is 343 episode 146, and we'll see you again next week.